Alright, there you are. Welcome back to the studio. I thought tonight, since it's getting to be fall out, we would take a shot at doing a couple of acorns, a little oak leaf, and see how that goes for us. So, got a little picture here. Very simple. A couple of leaves, a couple of acorns, a couple of nubs on the branch here. Real quick. It's going to be fun. It's going to be nice to do. Let me set our drawing off the, or our reference photo off to the side. Here's my picture that I've sketched out. What we're going to do real quickly, we're going to put down a layer of wash down here, a mixture of greens and reds, maybe a little yellow on the leaf. We're going to do a little browns and reds here, and some grays on the branch. So let's get going with that. I'm going to mix up a nice green mixture. I don't want it very bright. I'm going to mix my Windsor green here with a little yellow ochre. Get a nice muted kind of a green color, and that's going to be our base. I'm going to make that nice and soupy. Alright, I'm going to just come in, just going to be bold and just go and lay the color on. I'm not going to put a background on this one, and I've got a fairly thick pencil line. So I think that I'm just going to take just a little extra time and try to stay somewhat within the lines. If I were doing a background, I wouldn't worry so much about it because I'd be painting right over those lines. But since I'm going to have a stark white background, I think I'm going to try to just get right on that line. That's going to be a nice border, provide a nice border for us. And when we're done, it's going to be a nice card. You could hand it out to a friend or give it as a card at a party or something. It would be, it's going to be a real nice little gift. Okay, now I've got my green, just a basic color of green on here. What I want to do is mix up a little brownish red on here. And I'm just going to put that on as some again, just a little base color in here to break this up. It looks like running right up the stem here is a little red coloring on these leaves. Okay, if it gets into the green and in an irregular pattern, that's actually better for us. And I'm going to mix just a little bit of just straight yellow ochre and put on there. I don't want my green to actually be too bright, and the Windsor green really does tend to be fairly bright. Now I'm going to let those dry. I'm going to move right over to my acorns, and I'm going to get a little reddish brown mix. I probably could have used that same color. And I'm just going to lay some color on these. And again, I'm not worrying too much. I'm not trying to make these perfect. I'm not trying to do anything more than just get some basic color on these. Get a little bit more and do this one. On our second coat, when this starts to dry a little bit, we're going to come back and we're going to put a lot more detail in here. For the time being, all I want is to lay some basic color down here. Alright, see? That quick. Now I've got kind of a raw umber color here. I think that's a little better for the caps on these acorns, so I'm actually going to mix some of that kind of straight and put it on. And if it touches with my brown acorn color, I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'm going to let them just do what they want to do at this point. I just want to get some color on those caps. There we go. And I'm going to make my own gray. I'm going to start with a little green. I'm going to do it over here. And I'm going to put a little bit of red in there. And just a little bit of yellow, and just a touch more red in there to make the gray I want. There you go. That's kind of a nice warmish gray. And I'm just going to put in my stem, and hopefully by the time I'm done with my stem, I'll be able to go back to the leaves. Let's see, these go out, and I know that on the ends of these, I'm just going to grab a slightly smaller brush. We do have some red spots here, these little nubs that grow on the end. So I don't want it bright red. I'm just going to tone it down just ever so slightly. If I get that little red back run, I'm not going to worry about that. And it looks like we're almost there. We're not quite ready. Let me pause the tape and put a little dry on this. We'll be right back. Alright, we're back. I just dried it off. It's looking pretty good. I'm touching it. Everything's good. I'm going to come back with a little smaller brush. Instead of going to my leaves first, I'm going to come back to my acorns. I'm going to mix up a little bit more of this reddish brown color. If I get kind of separated red and brown, I'm okay with that. Just want it kind of mixed. And I'm just going to go in, I'm going to go in over here and kind of darken it up with this. This is going to be my second coat, and I want to start laying in some shadow here. I don't necessarily want the whole thing in shadow, but I do want enough color here to show that this is a round object. Alright, I've got a little bit of color on there. I'm going to let that blend out just ever so slightly. That's going to make that look really round. It's also going to leave us some space up here for our highlight. I'm going to twist this again. I'm going to do the same thing on this acorn. Got a big shadow there. I can see, it looks to me like the sun is coming from over here, or our light source anyway, so I'm going to put some of this color down there. I do want to put just a bit of color under that cap and just intensify that edge up there a little bit. Good. I'm just going to soften just the edge of that up just a little bit. Let's see if I can, there we go. Good. Now we've made it look more rounded. We've preserved a lot of our highlight area here where the sun probably is coming in. Now we can move on to our leaves. I'm going to go back to just a slightly larger brush, and you can see our Winsor blue, where it came through as just Winsor blue back here, is a little bit bright. I'm going to yellow this down a little bit by adding a lot more ochre. It's a nice fall color, and I'm going to bring out, that's actually probably a little too bright. Good, I'm going to put a little umber in there, and that's probably a good color of red for us. So what I want to do my leaves here is I want to think about if the light, it's a little too much water on here, if the light is coming from this direction, what part of this leaf is in the shade a little bit. And for me, I'm imagining that this is just underneath in the shade, and the whole leaf curls down like that. I'm going to mix a little bit of red in here. Let me go back to this mixture. I guess I put a little brown. I dabbed in the wrong spot. It's okay. Right along the edge. The thing here, and I'm going to do the same thing here because I want to, here we go, preserve our soft edge, or keep our soft edge. I don't want that to harden up too much on us. You know, I'm going to actually put a little bit more red in here. There we go. Good and good. And I'm going to do the same thing, whoops, on our one on the top. To me, It seems like this is going to be more in shadow. Definitely the point down here. I should turn it this way, you can see it. All of this is going to be shadowy. I'm just going to reserve that a little bit. I'm not a big fan of putting darks right on top of darks. And for our purpose here, that is our dark color. Just let me mix up. This doesn't quite look right to me. I want a green. Alright, I'm going to come right up here with it. I should get a little yellow in there too. Looking like a nice oak leaf. I can do this. I can change the color and put on top. And then for me, this spot right on top is going to be our highlight. Right up here, that's what I'm going to preserve. Just going to make sure I get this all the way to the edge. So when it dries, I don't have any big spots in it. Alright, now I'm going to get a real thin brush. This is a number 2 liner. And I'm going to come back into our color here. And if our light is coming from this direction, I need to put some kind of a shadow on this side. I don't know exactly how that's going to be. Something like that. And what do we have left? Our caps. Okay, let me use this umber. And I'm just going to do the classic crosshatch on these. I'm not drawing a completely straight line, but I'm drawing a straight enough line that I got a little too much. Maybe I can pull some of that out. You know what, I'm just going to dab that off real quick. Part of that, boom. There we go. And if you don't make dead straight lines, when you go back and look at this, you won't notice that the lines are like that. Alright, I'm going to keep my liner brush, and I'm just going to go back in, and I'm adding a little more depth, a little more detail to my acorns. I definitely want a line under there. I want that cap to stand out. And I'm going to wrap this color around my acorn so we know that it's darker at the bottom down here. Good, I'm actually going to make up a little bit more of this. That might have been a mistake. Use that. That'll be good. Alright, we're really dark down here at the bottom. This is a big acorn. I'm actually going to come on this side and try not to touch the leaf that's still wet. Put a little bit of shadow there. Draw that back just ever so slightly, and I want to make sure I get under this cap too. I don't have to go all the way under there, just enough to give the illusion that we're under there. And again, I'm going to take this and soften that edge just ever so slightly. It really is going to help to round that out. There you go. I've got a little bit to do on this side over here. See if I can pull some of that paint out just ever so slightly. I don't want it, I got a little bit outside. I don't want it to look like I've outlined it. I want a hard edge on the outside, and I want it to fade in to the inside, and that way it'll give it a nice round appearance. It'll have a hard edge on the outside. It'll definitely look, it'll stand out like it's supposed to be a hard edge. I'm going to give a little bit of a one over here. There we go. That's good. And I'm just going to soften this. There you go. Oh, that really helps. And that little nub down at the bottom of that acorn there. Alright, I'm going to put a little bit of this brown up here actually, just to give a little extra color. Good, that's good. And now I'm going to come back to my leaves. I want to put in some veining in here, so I actually want a dark brown green. I don't want it to be totally brown. I don't want it to be totally green. When I see the color, I'm going to know it, and I think that's pretty close. So now I have to think about the form of this leaf. And this leaf kind of cups over, so I'm going to go from my stem here and draw a line right up and over, and just going to draw some veins out like that. I'm trying to remember if oak leaves have veins that touch each other or if they don't. So I guess I did it here so that they don't touch each other. And there we go. There's our quick and easy acorns in the fall. Got some nice leaves, some nice fall colors on those. They're starting to turn a little bit. Our acorns are nice and ripe. Squirrel's going to come by and grab those anytime. If you liked the video, give a like. I'd like for you to subscribe. I'd love to see you back here in the studio. I thank you for your view, and we'll see you later.